Hey everyone, Reid Henrichs with Ridge, and this is the 4th of July 2016. 240 years since we last declared our independence from Great Britain. That's almost a quarter of a millennium. Quarter of 1,000 years. You see, a long time ago, our forefathers tried to reconcile with Great Britain. You know, the revolution had already been fought for over a year, and the glimmer of hope that somehow the Crown and the Parliament would recognize their wrongs and recognize how they've infringed upon the colonists' rights as Englishmen. And the Declaration of Independence declared absolute 100% sovereignty of the 13 colonies independent of Great Britain. It was at this point where they realized there was no reconciliation with their former government. They realized there was no reconciliation or talking with the Crown or Parliament. There was no reconciliation at this point. They've done all they can do. They petitioned their government for redress of grievances. They petitioned the king directly. They petitioned their officials in the colonies that represented Great Britain, and they were deaf to their inquiries. And I'm making this video to celebrate the 4th of July, but what is it that we're celebrating? We're celebrating the fact that we're independent from Great Britain, that we brought about a system of government that would best suit the needs of the people in this country. And Thomas Jefferson in the Declaration of Independence himself said that we have certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That's the entire premise of government, to protect your life, to protect your liberty, and to protect your pursuit of happiness. That's what our founders thought, and that's what the people that were willing to fight during this American Revolution for 8 long years were after. And here we are on the heels of some of the most vile, insidious, and un-American pieces of legislation to ever hit the shores of this country in California. I'm not going to go into detail about every single parts of the law, because Mr. Guns and Gear did a really good video about this yesterday. He did a fantastic job. If you haven't checked his channel out, please do. He's a great American. He believes in this country, believes in natural rights, and is a hell of a shooter. Check out his channel. He does a great video and a great breakdown on this legislation. But I would encourage everybody out there in California to do this. I am absolutely encouraging you to do this. A lot of these laws, or a lot of the parts of this law, don't go into effect for a couple of years. But I am entreating you and imploring you that your rights have literally been taken away from you. You have to have a background check for ammo now. You can't have certain magazines. You can't have certain guns anymore. Who are they to tell you these kind of things? And furthermore, let me explain something. Not every law that's passed is valid, and not every law that passed is just. For those of you on the fence about gun owners, or even if you don't have a gun, or maybe you're considering getting a gun, this is a serious attack on individual liberties in this country. This is a direct assault on the Second Amendment. This is a direct assault on the Bill of Rights. The federal government is not protecting your rights anymore. They're not listening to this, and neither is the state government of California. In fact, they're hand in hand, and their officials are serious cronies. You know, Kamala Harris is really good friends with Barack Obama, the man who's supposed to faithfully execute the laws of this country and support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America. Your rights as natural-born Americans are being stripped away, and the government isn't following what you want. And they're not protecting your rights, and they're deaf to your petitions for a redress of grievance. Now here we have a situation. What do we do on our Independence Day as the fireworks go off? You know, as we hear the gunshots and people shooting guns, celebrating our country's heritage. And as we hear all the Star-Spangled Banner and we see all this rah-rah American stuff, what's happening in California? The most un-American thing possible. Stripping away natural rights? Stripping away your God-given right to self-defense? This is wrong. And people in California, let me explain how this works. It always starts in California. And you think that this is only California, every other gun owner out there. You think, oh, it's only California, those people should move. Oh, what a commie state. Listen, all this weird stuff that we thought was impossible 20 years ago happens there first. And citizens of California, your country, for the most part, has your back. Not everybody's turned their back on you, for sure. I think at this point, really the only thing that you have left to do, and there are millions of you out there in California that are gun owners, millions of you. In a state of 30+ million people, there are millions of gun owners in California. And even though you're in California, you're still an American citizen, and your birthright and your heritage is that of rebellion against tyranny. I would ask that you have massive civil disobedience against these laws. Massive, massive civil disobedience. Protest them. Protest, organize, go to the Capitol, protest them. You have a right to assemble, you have a right to petition, and you have a right to free speech. And just because they aren't going to recognize your Second Amendment doesn't mean that you're not able to exercise it and to keep and bear arms for your protection and the protection of your families. The rest of you in California, stand firm. This is tyrannical, this is un-American, and this is the 4th of July, and I am celebrating my independence from a horrible, horrifying crown 240 years ago that my ancestors fought and died on battlefields to protect. Some of you out there always wondered what the day would look like when tyranny would come to America. You're staring it right in the face in California. You're staring it right in the face with these laws that were signed into effect by a horrible governor with an unrighteous state legislature led by a sycophant. Time is fast approaching where the options are becoming less for you out there. The time is fast approaching when the federal government will stop hearing anybody's petitions. And the time is fast approaching where you can't expect justice from a state or a federal court. Are we a nation that stands by and lets laws like this exist? Are we a nation that registers firearms at the behest of immoral laws? Are we a nation whose citizens willingly follow unjust laws in the end of times and say, I was just following what I was told to do? Are we those people? Are we the kind of people that say, you know what? Enough's enough. You've stepped on the rattlesnake more than one time, and we asked you, and we rattled, and we warned, and we showed our fangs, and we exercised restraint, and we exercised patience, and we exercised everything else, and all of a sudden now, you want to spit on us even more? On a day that we're supposed to be celebrating our independence from Great Britain, the very things that our ancestors abhorred have now come full circle to our face. And I ask everybody in California right now to get together. Millions of you get together and protest this. Go to Sacramento. Go to LA. Protest this. Demand that they restore your rights. Demand that they protect your rights. That is their job. They are not in charge of you. You are in charge of them. They are your servant. And the last I checked, a servant in a household doesn't tell the people what they're going to have to eat. He doesn't tell them what clothes they can wear. He doesn't tell them where they can go. And he doesn't tell them anything else. It's the other way around. We tell them what they're going to do for us and what they're going to protect. That's a simple civics lessons out there for you, ladies and gentlemen. Happy 4th of July. Meditate on what that meant to our ancestors. Meditate on what that means to you now. Are you paying lip service to a phrase in a holiday that is so hollow that we forgot what we were declaring independence from? This is a pivotal point in our country's history, ladies and gentlemen. And people of California understand this. There are a lot of people that care about you. It's up to you to get together and be the first rampart in the defense for your freedom and liberty. This is Reid Henrichs with Valor Ridge reminding you, the lessons that we learn are written on the tombstones of others. We'll see you on the ridge.